Hello, everybody. I am here in Park City, Utah to talk about this year's Academy Award nominations. I'm being a little quiet because it's still early here, and yet there's so much to talk about with the Oscar nominations this year. I am on the road because I'm here at the Sundance Film Festival, which starts today. That's right, the Oscar nominations and the Sundance Film Festival starting on the same day, or as some poor overworked publicist probably calls it, a nightmare. We have so much to go over. There were a few surprises. There were some things that weren't as shocking, but I'm going to go down the nominees in every category and flag things as I see them. But let's start with the big award of the year, which is Best Picture, and the 10 nominees are Bugonia, F1, I have a lot more to say about that. Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, The Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, Sinners, and Train Dreams. And it should be noted that Sinners set a new record this year for the most Oscar nominations ever. With 16 nominations, that beats the old record of 14 nominations. Even if you throw away the new casting category, it still would have set the record with 15 nominations due to a couple surprises, or at least one big one in the acting category. I'm a big fan of Sinners. Would I have guessed back in the beginning of the year, last year, that it would set an all-time record for Oscar nominations? Not necessarily, but we have a new film in the record books, beating it by 2 nominations. That 14 nominations, that stood for a while. That was Titanic, La La Land, and All About Eve. That is now second place in the record books. And looking at the movies that were nominated, I mean, a lot of it was anticipated. F1... okay, I mean, that movie was not Top Gun Maverick. I get why Top Gun Maverick was nominated for Best Picture. F1 was good, but there were 10 other movies that I would have put in over F1. But I guess the Academy enjoyed the movie. They wanted to award big screen spectacle, and that was the movie they went with this year. As far as my personal predictions for what would be nominated for Best Picture, I went 8 out of 10. I picked No Other Choice, and it was just an accident over F1 and Bugonia, which ended up being nominated. No Other Choice was a hopeful pick for me, and it didn't get nominated for anything. 0 nominations, which is just beyond mind-boggling for me because Park Chan-wook keeps making great movies that the Academy just kind of goes, nah, I don't think so. And then it was just an accident not getting in, I guess is a bit of a surprise, only because Neon has been on such a hot streak with getting a movie that wins the top prize at the Cannes Film Festival, taking it to a Best Picture nomination, but it was just too crowded this year, a lot of international cinema. So, F1, the one that kind of sticks out to me, but whatever, I guess I kind of get it. As far as the nominees for Best Actress, no huge surprises here. Jessie Buckley for Hamnet, Rose Byrne for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, Kate Hudson for Song Sung Blue. This was kind of a late surge for her. The SAG nomination really helped to indicate that this might happen. Renata Reinsve for Sentimental Value and Emma Stone for Bugonia. I actually went 5 out of 5 on my predictions for who would be nominated for Best Actress. As far as nominees for Best Actor, we have Timothée Chalamet, who I think is the frontrunner for Marty Supreme, Leonardo DiCaprio for One Battle After Another, Ethan Hawke for Blue Moon. I'm so happy to see that he made the cut because I thought he was great in that film. Michael B. Jordan for Sinners and Wagner Moura for The Secret Agent. And again, that was 5 for 5 for me. I predicted those 5 to be nominated for Best Actor. Looking at the nominees for Best Director, Chloe Zhao for Hamnet, Josh Safdie for Marty Supreme, Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another, Joachim Trier for Sentimental Value, and Ryan Coogler for Sinners. I guess I did pretty good in this one too, 5 out of 5 as far as my predicted nominees for Best Director. Here's where I didn't get all of them correct. Best Actor in a Supporting Role, and this was maybe one of the biggest surprises of the day. We have Benicio del Toro for One Battle After Another, Jacob Elordi for Frankenstein, and then Delroy Lindo for Sinners. Delroy Lindo was on my list as far as who I would nominate for the Academy Award. I thought it was a very long shot that he would actually get the nomination. This is his first Academy Award nomination. I'm very happy to see him in this category. I think that he put in kind of one of the things that defines a supporting role, which was he was the MVP when he was on screen, but he was able to kind of cede the spotlight to the lead actors. This will not make me overlook the fact that the Academy overlooked him for Da 5 Bloods, kind of like the pluribus love for Ray Seahorn and her complete snubs for Better Call Saul. But I'm glad that he's nominated this year, and that was a surprise for me to see him actually pop up. The other 2 nominees were Sean Penn for One Battle After Another and Stellan Skarsgård for Sentimental Value. I went 4 out of 5 on my predictions for that. I predicted Paul Mescal instead of Delroy Lindo, as many people did. As far as the nominees for Best Actress in a Supporting Role, we have Elle Fanning in Sentimental Value, Inga Ipsdottir Lilius for Sentimental Value, Amy Madigan for Weapons, Wunmi Musaku for Sinners, Tiana Taylor for One Battle After Another. No huge surprises here. I again went 4 out of 5 in my predictions. I put Odessa Azion for Marty Supreme in over Elle Fanning, but I'm happy with all of those. Those were all great performances. All right, let's turn now to nominees in some of the other categories, and we will start with the Best Adapted Screenplay Award. The nominees were Bugonia, Frankenstein, Hamnet, One Battle After Another, and Train Dreams. No major surprises here, and I think a pretty worthy group of nominees. For Best Original Screenplay, we had Blue Moon, It Was Just an Accident, Marty Supreme, Sentimental Value, and Sinners. Kind of a surprise to see Blue Moon in this category over movies like The Secret Agent, but again, I quite like that movie, and I thought it was well written, so I'm glad that it made the cut. The nominees for Best Animated Feature Film were not a huge surprise. We have Arco, Elio, K-Pop Demon Hunters, Little Amile or The Character of Rain, and Zootopia 2. I know that there are a lot of anime fans that are unhappy that neither Chainsaw Man nor Scarlet nor Demon Slayer made the cut, but these were the anticipated 5, and a lot of people would say that K-Pop Demon Hunters has it, running away. I'd say that it is the front runner, but Little Amile is a movie kind of like Flow. I think you should keep your eye on it because I think it's going to steal some votes away. Not quite in the same way that Flow did last year, but I do think that it wouldn't be shocking to me if it actually won the Academy Award. The nominees for Best International Feature Film were The Secret Agent, It Was Just an Accident, Sentimental Value, Sirat, and The Voice of Hind Rajab. And this is a good crop of movies, but I'm just flabbergasted that No Other Choice was not put in this category. I have seen all of these movies, all 5 of these movies, and a lot of the ones that didn't get nominated. Sirat particularly, I understand why it got the nomination for sound, which we'll see in a few minutes, but No Other Choice is such a great movie. And the fact that it didn't even make the cut in the international category, I don't understand it. I just don't. I don't get it. There must be something about Park Chan-wook's movies that the Academy does not connect to, because this is twice in a row now with him, with Decision to Leave and now with No Other Choice, where I look at the nominees and I'm like, I don't understand how you could leave either one of those movies out, because they were both among my favorite movies. Forget international films, movies of the year. For Best Documentary Feature, the nominees were The Alabama Solution, Come See Me in the Good Light, Cutting Through Rocks, Mr. Nobody Against Putin, and The Perfect Neighbor. It seems like every year with Documentary Feature, there's one movie that's not nominated that I just don't understand. And this year, it's 2,000 Meters from Andrivka, which is one of the most effective documentaries I've ever seen. It actually debuted here at Sundance last year. I cannot believe that it wasn't nominated. Now, I haven't seen 4 of these 5 nominees, so I'm going to reserve judgment that they may be better movies, but that's this category. Every single year, going back to Hoop Dreams and before, there's always a movie that's not nominated that makes you scratch your head going, wait a minute, and it's oftentimes one of the frontrunners. Same as always, I guess. And the nominees for Best Original Song, we have Dear Me by Diane Warren. So the gods have been satisfied. We live yet another year on Earth without the huge hand coming up and swallowing us all. Golden from K-Pop Demon Hunters. I mean, it would be hard to see that not winning. Although I lied to you from Sinners. Sinners, obviously a big favorite of the Academy, also nominated. Sweet Dreams of Joy from a movie called Viva Verdi. I guess I'll have to watch that because I try to watch every Oscar nominee every year, but I've never heard of it. And then Train Dreams from the movie Train Dreams. There are a couple of big surprises here. The biggest one being that we didn't get a nomination for The Girl in the Bubble from Wicked for Good. As a matter of fact, Wicked for Good got no nominations whatsoever. When we were talking about Best Supporting Actress, Ariana Grande not included in that list. Wicked last year had 10 nominations. Wicked for Good this year had 0 nominations, despite being a leading contender in a lot of categories. So the Academy kind of did the Toy Story meme this year. They didn't want to play with Wicked anymore and completely shut it out of everything. And Best Original Song, one of the most surprising. I wasn't shocked that Ariana Grande was left out of Best Supporting Actress, but the fact that it was excluded from every other category, a big surprise for me. This is the first year for the Best Casting Award, and the nominees were Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, The Secret Agent, and Sinners. And I know that the Academy has done some education on Best Casting and what it is exactly, but they're going to have to do a little bit more explanation for me because, for example, Sentimental Value, 4 Academy Award nominees for acting, not nominated in this category. The Secret Agent has one nominee for acting. It is nominated in this category. So is it kind of like best visual effects? Like, are you getting an award for most cast? This is a new category, so there is still a lot to be said and a lot to be done. But it's just strange to me to see a movie like Sentimental Value rack up all of these Academy Award nominations and then have the people that nominate for casting say, but it's not one of the 5 best cast movies of the year. I get it. The other movies have bigger casts, but I don't know. I just don't understand, I guess. For Best Cinematography, the nominees were Frankenstein, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and Train Dreams. No huge surprises there, and this is going to be a throwdown. I don't know who I would go with in this category because they all are really good-looking movies. For Best Production Design, we have Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, and Sinners. Again, very worthy nominees in this category. For Best Original Score, we have Bugonia, Frankenstein, Hamnet, One Battle After Another, and Sinners. I'm a little upset that we did not see the Marty Supreme score here. I might have kicked out Frankenstein for that one. Not that I didn't like the music in Frankenstein, but I loved the music in Marty Supreme. But again, Alexandre Desplat, an Academy favorite, Frankenstein, with a lot of nominations, so I guess it's not a huge surprise. For Best Costume Design, the nominees were Avatar, Fire and Ash. Kind of surprising, and again, no Wicked for Good in this category. Opened it up for a lot of other movies. Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, and Sinners. And again, it's just hard for me to look at the costumes in Avatar, Fire and Ash and say, like, oh yeah, they were way better than Wicked for Good. It just seems like that movie completely fell off the radar for everyone at the Academy, every single branch, all of the voters. It's crazy. It was like a group think. I don't know exactly how that happened. For Best Film Editing, the nominees were F1, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sentimental Value, and Sinners. No huge shockers there. For Makeup and Hairstyling, we had some films that you might not have expected. Again, because Wicked for Good was excluded out of a category where many would have thought it'd be a frontrunner, we have Frankenstein, Kokuho, which is a Japanese film, Sinners, The Smashing Machine, and The Ugly Stepsister. I've actually heard that the makeup in this movie is very good. This gives me a reason to watch it because a lot of people have said that I should watch it. You would think that Frankenstein might be the favorite here, but you never know. This category is kind of ripe for upsets often. For Best Visual Effects, the nominees are Avatar, Fire and Ash. Let's be honest, that's going to be the winner. F1, Jurassic World Rebirth, The Lost Bus, which is an Apple original movie. Kind of surprising to see it here. And Sinners. I was somewhat surprised to see Superman excluded from this category in favor of movies like The Lost Bus and even Jurassic World Rebirth. But superhero films oftentimes just not really respected by the Academy, with some rare exceptions, and that's the case here as well. For Best Sound, the nominees were F1, Frankenstein, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and Sirat. Honestly, I think if things were all fair, this would go to Sirat, which was an incredibly well done movie when it comes to sound design, even against its competition. I don't know necessarily if it's going to win, but I would be happy to see it win because I think it really does what cinema sound should do, which is to affect you emotionally as well as technically. Then we have the short categories, which nobody knows how to predict. This is always the one that ruins your Oscar pool unless you can throw a dart and get it right. We have Butterfly, Forever Green, The Girl Who Cried Pearls, Retirement Plan, and The Three Sisters. For documentary short film, we have All the Empty Rooms, Armed Only with a Camera, The Life and Death of Brent Renault, Children No More, Were and Are Gone, The Devil is Busy, and Perfectly a Strangeness. And then for Best Live Action Short, we have Butcher's Stain, A Friend of Dorothy, Jane Austen's period drama, The Singers, and Two People Exchanging Saliva. So when we look at the movies with the most Oscar nominations, as I mentioned, Sinners leads the way with 16 nominations. That is a new all-time record for most nominations in one year. One Battle After Another falls one short of tying what used to be the all-time record of 14. It had 13 nominations. Then we have Frankenstein, Marty Supreme, and Sentimental Value with 9 nominations, Hamnet with 8 nominations, and Bugonia, F1, The Secret Agent, and Train Dreams with 4 nominations each. As far as some movies that came away without a nomination, as I mentioned, Wicked for Good, completely shut out. No Other Choice, to me, mind-bogglingly completely shut out. Wake Up Dead Man, Rian Johnson had been nominated for writing the other two. It didn't get any nominations. Jay Kelly, very star-studded. Noah Baumbach film with George Clooney and Adam Sandler, who at one time was thought maybe Best Supporting Actor, didn't come away with anything. After the Hunt, which a lot of people going into the fall festival season said, oh, this is a huge contender, came away with nothing. Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere, nothing for Jeremy Allen White or the movie itself. And then The Testament of Anne Lee, which came in with a lot of awards prestige. Amanda Seyfried at one point was considered to be a serious contender for Best Actress, did not make the cut. And again, there were 10 nominations last year for Wicked, 0 nominations for Wicked for Good. That is a Joker folie à deux style drop from the first movie to the second movie, and I think we can all agree that Wicked for Good is better than Joker folie à deux. Some notes on these nominations. Timothée Chalamet becomes the youngest actor in Academy history to earn 3 Best Actor nominations. Wagner Moura is the first Best Actor nominee from Brazil. Autumn Gerald Arkapaw becomes the 4th woman and the first woman of color to be nominated for Best Cinematography. Ryan Coogler becomes the 7th Black Best Director nominee and the first since Spike Lee for Black Klansman. And Chloe Zhao joins Jane Campion as one of only 2 women nominated for Best Director twice. Also, half of the acting nominees are first-time acting nominees. We have Delroy Lindo, Stellan Skarsgård, Jacob Elordi, Rose Byrne, Renata Reinsve, Wagner Moura, Elle Fanning, Teyana Taylor, Inga Ibs-daughter-Lilius, and Wunmi Mosaku. So overall, I think that this was a mix of very predictable nominees and then some that were surprising, like Delroy Lindo, and some surprising omissions, like Wicked for Good, across the board. But I think that this is turning out to be a somewhat conventional awards season unless things really get shaken up with some of the Guild Awards and there's a little bit more suspense going into Oscar night. Although there are very few winners, I think, in the major categories that are slam dunks, where I'm just like, I'm absolutely sure this is going to win. I mean, one battle after another, you would think, and I think still is the front runner, but seeing so much love for Sinners, including in some unexpected categories, makes me wonder, okay, well, is it a bit more of a toss-up than we thought? Now, oftentimes, the movie with the most nominations is not the Best Picture winner, but there is a lot of love for Sinners there at the Academy, more than I anticipated. So I think that adds a little bit of suspense as of now. And then if Sinners is able to pick up some of the other major Guild Awards, then I think we're going to have a lot more suspense going into the Academy Awards. But I would say this mostly went as expected. I'm not as angry with some of the nominations as I usually am. Although, for me, I would say the biggest snub personally would be No Other Choice. I'm sure that most people, if you're upset about something, you're upset about Ariana Grande not being nominated. But No Other Choice is the snub of the year for me. But yeah, I'm not hugely shocked. I'm whelmed by these nominees, and I think it's going to be a very interesting Academy Awards season as we head toward the ceremony in March. But what do you think? Were your favorites nominated? Were they not nominated? What do you think of all of the nominees? Let me know down in the comments below, and stay tuned right here on the channel. I am literally going to run out the door the second that I am done uploading this video to get to my first screening of the day here on day 1 of Sundance, and I'm going to try to provide you some updates as I see films. There's some I know that I'm seeing. There's some I'm not sure what I'm going to see yet, but I want to bring you the updates for some of the exciting movies that are debuting here, some of which, like Train Dreams and others, may be Academy Award nominees this time next year. So I'm on the hunt for next year's Oscar contenders. Thank you so much for watching my video breaking down the Oscar nominations. Until next time, stay safe, and I'll see you then. Bye.